The streaks continue for the New York Yankees. They have now lost 8 straight rubber games and are 1-12-3 in their last 16 series. They lose 2 of 3 at the Tampa Bay Rays, and really for what I was rooting for, the series was quite enjoyable. Considering the fact that I want the Yankees to lose series, again, these streaks continuing, and at the same time, Garrett Cole, in terms of his Cy Young chase, this was certainly a good one for Cole, coming off of a bad start versus the Red Sox. He pitched well in the Game 1 win. Also, DJ LeMahieu, who is going to be an important, look, if the Yankees want to turn things around in future years, he is going to be here. You're better, you're basically stuck with him. And he has really turned it on. Not just like from a batting average standpoint, but home runs as well. He hit 3 home runs in this series, 2 in Game 1. You saw some good things from Everson Pereira. He actually batted cleanup in Game 3. We'll talk about that. Just shows how down bad the Yankees are. But tempers flared in the third game, and really between Albert Abreu and the Rays have had the Yankees number now. For a while, really. When I think about the Kevin Cash era, which extends beyond the Aaron Boone one. Kevin Cash has been the Rays manager now for quite some time, certainly longer than Boone, if memory is correct here. But the Yankees finished the season 5-8 versus the Rays. In series versus the Rays this year, they went 0-3-1. And that's just a better baseball team, plain and simple. The Tampa Bay Rays record is now 80-52, and the Yankees are 62-68. So the Yankees, it's their low water mark of the season, 6 games below 500, and it is very much looking like, we can basically book it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, finishing last place, that to me is like a near certainty, and that will have been the first time the Yankees have been in last place since 1990, and then finishing below 500, barring a crazy turnaround, which is not going to happen. It will be the first time they've finished below 500 since 1992. So, this road trip begins. It now heads next for a 4-game set at the Tigers. We'll preview that at the end. And then they go to the Houston Astros for 3, and man, that could get very ugly. So, the Yankees offense continues to be an absolute joke. All they can really do is hit home runs, and, that's it. That is it. I mean, Game 2, they only got 2 hits, both by DJ LeMahieu, shut out against the Rays. So it was similar to the Monday game, the first game versus the Nationals, where the only 2 hits were by Ben Rortvedt, and this time it was LeMahieu. And then in Game 3, they only put up 4 hits, 3 of them homers, but they lost the game, and it was a blown lead. And again, when the Yankees trail, they're done. They are basically done. It's incredible. The Yankees in the last game, the rubber game, 16 up, 16 down from 2 outs in the 4th inning onward. And the Yankees were up 4-2 at that point. Once they relinquished the lead and went behind, that was it. They were done. I mean, again, they're not good. It's a bad team. And there is a lack of pushback. There is a lack of fight. Like, it's both. I think it's more that they're bad, but you can't deny that, this team, they just die. They just absolutely die. Zero comeback ability for this ball club. Aaron Judge, brutal this series. 0 for 12. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. And look, Judge is arguably one of the very best players in baseball. But, I tend to notice that against good pitching teams, he does have his struggles at times. And again, I'll cut this conversation off very quickly here, but I'm just saying, you think back to that Astros series, a few weeks ago, and now versus the Rays here, that is, he was the worst of the Yankee players, which again, you don't want to see that. But either way, Kiner Falefa played the first couple of games in this series. He hadn't played since they called up the kids. Pereira and Peraza continue to play. And, they're not doing great. I guess I'm more disappointed in Peraza. Pereira did have an RBI single in the first game. He had another single in the third game. He's hitting the ball pretty well. So, the numbers aren't good, but we'll be patient there. Also, Jason Dominguez has been raking in his first 7 games in AAA. So Dominguez, that's someone I'm truly excited for. That's someone that I think actually has a chance to really make a major impact on this team. So it will be interesting to see if by the time the season's out, if he does make it up here, which would be pretty improbable. I mean, he had that amazing spring training, but he really struggled the first 2 to 3 months in in Double A, and ever since it's funny, ever since the Yankees have been really bad, Dominguez individually has been really good in the minors. So that's someone to keep an eye on. But no transactions to speak of that I can think of going into the series. And what's crazy here is that it does sound like maybe not so much Rizzo, but Donaldson. Like, it sounds like both of them will be back this season, which is like, in the case of Donaldson, is like really insane. But for both of them, it's insane. Like, it's just tone deaf. And to me, if Donaldson comes back this season, that's got to mean there's a plan to shut down Judge or Stanton. There's got to be, because you're not going to sit the kids. So we'll deal with that if and when that comes, but wanted to mention that. And besides that, yeah, let's just jump into it. I mean, again, the Tampa Bay Rays, they are fighting for this AL East. I think the Orioles are going to hang on, but like a lot of baseball, they have one more series to go. I believe it's in Baltimore, a 4-game set, home against the Rays. So, again, I think the Baltimore's got a little bit of the leg up, but the Rays are still very much in that mix. And if they don't win the division, good chance that they will at least host the best-of-3 series in the wild card round. So, Yankees-Rays. Zach Eflin on the mound versus Gerrit Cole. And Eflin has had a good season for Tampa and had been 2-0 versus the Yankees coming into this one on the season, but Gerrit Cole outpitched him. Eflin just made, one or two mistakes, and it cost him. So Harrison Bader would sit this one. He would come in as a defensive replacement later on. So Connor Falefa started in center field. For Harrison Bader, the struggles continue. I'll try to talk about the numbers once I get to game 3, but yeah, like he is, I'll say it right now, like he's in the low 240s, and it's not even so much that, like, this is a guy that's like hit for power. We saw it last year in the playoffs. He did it with the Cardinals too. Like this, I mean, the slug is like kind of gone. So for Harrison Bader, who's going to be a free agent, I think, as the days go on, as much as I like him, because I do, I think, he provides good defense, and I think his skill set is a good one. I think those chances of him remaining a Yankee decrease by the day. But anyway, this game would remain scoreless for a while, and for Cole, a good bounce back. He ends up going 7 2/3 in this game. No walks, 11 strikeouts, only 1 earned run, 3 hits. His ERA is 2.95. So he's very much, look, I don't think it's a slam dunk he wins this Cy Young, but he's very, very, very much in that conversation. And the Yankees finally get on the board in the 5th. And it would be DJ LeMahieu with 2 out. He hits a home run, his 10th of the season, and he wouldn't stop there. But for DJ, that is a very encouraging sign. And look, if you want to think positively, he showed, like, the first half of last season, he was really, really, really good. And then it dropped off. And I think we look back at 2021 as a not good, for DJ, whether it was injury, 2021 was not a great year for LeMahieu. Now, maybe if I look back, I look at the numbers and say, it's better than I thought, but it didn't feel good. But we can kind of look at, it's not as if, my point is here, DJ has not been completely awful for the last 3 seasons. There has been times when he has been good, and he's showing that right now. So DJ makes it 1-0 Yanks right there. Then in the 6th, the Yankees take a 2-0 lead. Eflin gets into trouble, and he almost gets out of it. However, Everson Pereira gets his first RBI hit, right? So he had an RBI ground out. It was kind of a lucky one versus the Nationals. But here, drives an RBI single off of Eflin to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead. Then the Rays come right back and score a run in the 6th. Yandy Diaz homers off of Cole, his 17th homer of the season, makes it 2-1. Then in the 7th, Trevor Kelly comes on, and the Rays had used up their bullpen pretty good, I think, in previous days. So it put them in a situation where Trevor Kelly, I think he's one of their worst relievers. I mean, again, the Rays bullpen, the numbers of some of these guys every year, it's just insane. Like, as good as the Yankees are, I think, one of their strengths is kind of the bullpen and guys coming out of nowhere. Like, the Rays is just, like, out of this world numbers. But Trevor Kelly's not one of those guys. And so he gives up a couple of walks. LeMahieu and Judge with 1 out. And then Gleyber Torres lines a ground rule double to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead. And then Giancarlo Stanton gets a 2-run double to give the Yankees a 5-1 lead. So they give Cole that cushion. He takes advantage of it. Then the 6th, with Kelly still in there, LeMahieu homers again. Second homer of the night for DJ, his 11th homer of the year, gives the Yankees a 6-1 lead. Then, some shoddy defense by Oswald Peraza. They call it a throwing error, which allows Bazabe to reach. Then Siri grounds out, force out. He steals second. Bethencourt strikes out, and then that's all for Garrett Cole. So Cole leaves the game after 7 2/3. Again, no walks, 11 strikeouts. Just brilliant from Cole. Loaiza comes on and gets into some trouble. He actually hits Yandy Diaz in the forearm. Yandy would finish the game, but he would be out for the next 2 games. So Yandy Diaz, and he was pissed. And this started a theme of Yankees hitting the Rays. Again, this season, 12 Rays hit compared to only 2 for the Yankees. So I understand why the Rays are upset. I do. I really do. So then Brandon Lau gets an RBI single. So it's an unearned run against Cole. It's off of Loaizaga. And then a Rosarena grounds out. So the Yankees take a 6-2 lead into the 9th. And then Loaizaga finishes it off in the 9th. It's a 1-2-3 ninth inning for Loaizaga. His ERA drops to .82. So Loaizaga has really been excellent since he's returned. And the Yankees win 6-2. It's the 11th win for Cole. And they start out with the series, with the victory to start out the series. But as we've seen, it doesn't matter whether the Yankees win game 1, game 2, and like I've said a million times, the Yankees have to lead baseball in best-of-3 series for splitting the first 2 games. It's frequent. It is so rare that either the Yankees win both in the first 2 or the Yankees lose both. It is always a split. There are so many rubber games, and the Yankees have lost 8 straight of them. And that is fucking crazy. That's got to be some type, I mean, just in terms of, maybe let's just keep it to 2023. That's got to be like tops in baseball for a stretch of 8 straight rubber games lost. But I digress. Game 2, it would be Clark Schmidt versus Tyler Glasnow. And Clark Schmidt, he had that one bad outing versus the Braves. Besides that, he's been really, really solid and deserved a better fate here. He ends up going 6 2/3, 3 runs allowed, only 1 earned run. Because again, shoddy defense. And in this case, it would be Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who would be at third base. No walks, 5 strikeouts. So again, like starters, I mean, that's 2 starts in a row of no walks allowed by Yankee pitching. But for the Yanks, in this game, on the bench out of the regulars would be, who sat this one? Volpe. So this is the first game that Anthony Volpe did not appear in all season. So that streak comes to an end. So Volpe had played like 118 straight games, but in game 119, he didn't appear in this one. So that comes to an end. And so you had Peraza move over to short. Kiner-Falefa goes to third. Tyler Glasnow did not have his strikeout stuff, but it didn't matter. He only allowed 1 hit in 6 innings, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Then Stevenson, Adam, and Fairbanks do the job and combined for 3 innings of scoreless ball, only allowing 1 hit, no walks, and 6 strikeouts. So they completely shut the Yankees down. The bullpen was nails for the Rays, and they tie up this series. So not going to be a whole lot to discuss in this one. And in terms of runners in scoring position, I want to say, and I'll have to confirm this, I think the Yankees want to combine 0 for 1 in the last 2 games in terms of runners in scoring position. I don't think anyone reached runners in scoring second base in game 3. So in game 2, 0 for 1, just fucking insane. And Judge was the one that made that out. Again, he was, in a weird situation. Out of everything that was bad, he was actually the worst hitter in the series. Anyway, we go to the bottom of the second, and Isaac Paredes reaches on a error by Kiner-Falefa. So Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who, has previously won a Gold Glove at third base, and someone who I think has really done a very, very nice job at, kind of in this utility role, and a lot of it at third, has struggled at third base in the last couple of weeks. And it does hurt the Yankees. The Rays take advantage of that. Luke Raley with a double makes it second and third, no out. And then productive outs by the Rays. A sac fly by Harold Ramirez, which not only scores Paredes, but it moves Raley over to third. And then Jonathan Aranda, who is in there in place of Yandy Diaz, he gets a sac fly as well. Makes it 2-0 Rays. And then that one spot where you had runners in scoring position was Ben Rortvedt, who would catch the first 2 games of the series. I should have mentioned that. Rortvedt had a 1-out walk, then LeMahieu grounded out to move him over to second, and then Judge popped out. Bottom of the third, a 2-out rally for the Rays, back-to-back doubles. Randy Rosarena got the first one, and then Josh Lowe got the next one. Makes it 3-0. And Bader kind of had trouble tracking this one down. Not sure if he even did, if it would have mattered. But the Rays make it 3-0. Then, not a whole lot of offense to speak of. The Yankees break up the no-hit bid in the 6th with 1 out. LeMahieu singles off a Glasnow. We jump to the 7th. Robert Stevenson goes 1-2-3 versus the Yanks. Then Schmidt gets into some trouble in the 7th, but he ends up getting a strikeout to finish off his day. Then Wandy comes on and strikes out Brandon Lau to end the 7th. That Peralta-Lau matchup would come again in Game 3. We'll talk about it. Jason Adam, 1-2-3 inning. You had a Jake Bauers pinch hit appearance for Ben Warford, and he strikes out. Jake Bauers is really bad. Really, really bad. I mean, he's not really playing much anymore, but in his rare pinch hit appearances, he just strikes out. Like, he is a joke. So Keenan Middleton comes on in the 8th. He got us into some trouble. We've seen some walks issues with him lately, but he does get out of it. And again, Middleton continues to be good as a Yank. And then Pete Fairbanks, who is mainly the Rays closer, gives up a leadoff single to LeMahieu, but then he gets judged to strike out. Torres strikeout looking. That was probably honestly ball 4, and then Stanton pops out. So the Yankees get shut out. I believe it's the 8th time they've been shut out this season. It's 3-0. It's a 3-0 loss, and that sets it up for a rubber game versus the Rays, and this was an interesting affair. Tempers flared in this one, and it would be a pitching matchup between former Yankee prospect Zach Littell, who had his struggles, but the Yankees kind of let him off the hook, versus Carlos Rodon, who I guess you come out of this game with mostly positives. The final line, he only goes 4 2/3. Part of that being that his pitch count is still low. He went 84 pitches. Gives up 4 hits, which is fine. 2 earned runs, which is okay. 2 walks, which is not amazing, but not disastrous. And 7 strikeouts, which is good. For Rodon, there was also a hit by pitch mixed in there. So his ERA now drops to below 6 at 5.97. A mixed bag for Rodon. But if I'm being fair, something to, you had stuff to hang your hat on. And the first inning was ugly defensively. And Rodon ends up throwing 31 pitches in the first inning. And it could have been a whole lot worse than what it was. Giancarlo Stanton was on the bench for this one, which allowed Oswaldo Cabrera to play right field. And so with Stanton out, Everson Pereira batted cleanup, which again is pretty insane, although he did have one of their 4 hits in this one. So let's talk about this game, which again had a lot of fireworks towards the end, but I understand the Rays for being upset, and we'll talk about it. So, and again, please like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated as we continue on in this, pretty disastrous 2023 Yankee season. So, first inning comes around, and you get a leadoff single by Arozarena, and with 1 out, he's still second, and Higashioka airmails it into center field. Now with Higgy, defensively, and it's funny, Higgy homered in this game, and I think it's from an offensive perspective, he's okay. He's not good. He's not good at all. But he's been serviceable, I guess, based on expectation. But defensively, he seems like someone who he doesn't really have a very strong arm. He tends to airmail the ball. I just think if we're being critical here, Trevi is definitely more sound defensively, which was always known. But I think that's, to me, I'm noticing it even more. But anyway, Higgy airmails it to center field. Then Bader throws to third. Now, they give Bader a throwing error here. It's not completely fair because Peraza should have kept it in front of him. And not only does Peraza not keep it in front of him, then it kind of trickles by Rodon. And so then Rodon tries to throw Arozarena at home, and Arozarena beats the Higashioka tag. He is safe. So an embarrassing moment for the Yankees where a steal from second or an attempted steal of second leads to a run on that play. Ugly, 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 ugly. And then the next pitch, on an 0-2 pitch right down the middle of Brandon Lau, a bad pitch by Rodon, is deposited into the seats, makes it 2-0 Rays. Then he gets into more trouble, but he is able to get out of it. Paredes single, Bazabe hit by pitch, Raley single. So basically 1 out, and then Siri with a soft line out to Volpe, and then Bethancourt strikes out. So it kept the Yankees in it, and they actually did take advantage of it. In the third, off of Littell, it would be Higashioka's 9th homer of the season, makes it 2-1, and then right after that, it would be a back-to-back home run situation for the Yankees. LeMahieu hits his 3rd homer of the series, his 12th homer of the season, makes it 2-2. We go to the 4th, and meanwhile, Rodon is really settling in. Rodon had retired, I believe it was 11 straight Rays. So in the 4th, Everson Pereira leadoff single, and Anthony Volpe homers. Opposite field homer for Volpe. It's his 18th homer of the season, and that's that's one of the few bright spots. And again, I keep on saying this because Volpe's batting average, I think it sits maybe it's 219 or so. So it is actually getting a little bit better, and there is good signs there. But look, this is someone that Volpe is going to hit certainly if he stays healthy, over 20 homers, and he might approach 25, which is like, I never would have thought that. So again, Volpe, good on him, gives Yankees a 4-2 lead. Then with 2 out, Peraza's hit by a pitch, and that would be the last Yankee base runner of the game with 2 outs in the 4th inning. So in the bottom of the 5th, it's a leadoff walk to Aranda, which, if you're Rodon, you want to avoid that. And eventually, he walks Lau on 4 pitches with 2 outs. So they bring on Ian Hamilton. Ian Hamilton then hits Paredes in the head. And Ian Hamilton, he did not do that on purpose. He didn't mean to, but, again, it was scary. And so it becomes bases loaded, 2 out, and then Josh Lowe comes in as a pinch hitter, and Hamilton strikes him out. So Hamilton gets out of the mess, and it remains 4-2. In the bottom of the 6th, it's a 2-out rally for the Rays off of Hamilton. And, Hamilton, whose numbers had been pristine, take a hit today. It's a 2-out single by Bethancourt. Then Aranda is hit by a pitch, and that's the one that, Hamilton's want to have back. He was ahead in the count, and he hits him. And then Arozarena with an infield single, kind of just perfect placement. And then a really long at-bat with Harold Ramirez. Now, Ramirez, he was actually almost hitting this at-bat as well. Eventually, not a bad pitch by Hamilton. Ramirez kind of just pokes it into short right field, and it is a 2-run single. And this is a play where Gleyber Torres really needed to do better. He was he was flat-footed, and he just needed to be a little bit quicker. So it is 4-4 at this point. Harold Ramirez with a 2-run single, and Hamilton's out of the game at this point. So a good piece of hitting, and that's just a well grinded out at bat. That's the type of at bats you don't see from the Yankees. Ramirez is able to he was down in the count, and again, Gleyber needed to be a little bit quicker. So 4-4, Wandy Peralta comes on, and Wandy, who had amazing inherited numbers on the season, I think going into this game, he had only allowed 1 runner to score out of 22. I think it was like 5%, which I think led baseball for a minimum of 20 inherited runners. So it's like anti-Tommy Kahnle. However, Wandy does not come through here. Harold Ramirez steals second, and then lefty-lefty battle between Brandon Lau and Wandy Peralta. Now, the day before Lau struck out, today Lau gets a 2-run single. So, you feel bad for Hamilton a little bit. It was kind of his own undoing, but it was a little bit of bad luck, and all those runs go up against Hamilton. So that is 4 runs on Hamilton's ledger in an inning of work. And so Wandy Peralta, can't keep that game tied, so it's 6-4 Rays. Then Sean Armstrong goes 1-2-3 and replaces Littell in the 7th. Tommy Kahnle with a bit of a bounce back outing, got into some trouble, but did pretty well. And so we go to the 8th. Robert Stevenson, back-to-back days, gets the job done for the Rays, goes 1-2-3. Then Albert Abreu. This is when the tempers flare. Abreu hits Arozarena. He's upset about it. The bench is clear. And then, cooler heads prevail, kind of. There was a pretty heated discussion between Boone and Cash, and there were some other things going on, but nothing really escalated like crazy. But then Arozarena steals second. He steals third. And then once he stole third, Abreu and Arozarena had words again, and benches cleared again. But again, nothing completely got out of control. But for Albert Abreu, you gotta keep your cool there. And for Abreu, I continue to be amazed that this guy's been on the roster all season long. They refuse to designate Albert Abreu for assignment. It's kind of funny at this point. He does get Harold Ramirez to ground out, but then Brandon Lau does it again. Brandon Lau gets an RBI double. It's his 4th RBI of the game, and he gives the Rays a 7-4 lead. We go to the 9th. Jason Adam comes on for back-to-back days, and he shuts the Yankees down 1-2-3 as Harrison Bader gets the last out. Harrison Bader is down to 243, batting average with a 651 OPS. That is really, really bad considering where he was at one point. So, again, Yankees lose the series. They've lost 8 straight rubber games, and they are 1-12-3 in their last 16 series. Let's preview the Detroit Tigers series. So for the Tigers, they're coming off of really getting absolutely pummeled by the Houston Astros. They lost 17-4. They gave up 25 hits, so they'll be looking to rebound. This will be a 4-game series, and it's funny. The Yankees have not faced the Tigers. We're approaching August 28th, and this will be the first time they face the Tigers this season, so a weird scheduling quirk there. And it'll be Luis Severino versus Reese Olson for the Tigers. Severino will look to continue what was, a good outing versus the Nationals. We'll see if he can keep it up. He's 3-8 with a 7.26 ERA in the season. Olson is someone that should be hittable for the Yankees, but the Yankees have one of the worst offenses in baseball, and he's right-handed, so that could be a problem. But again, Olson's numbers are not too great. He's a rookie, and he has struggled lately. Game 2 will be Michael King. So King, they're really going to try to work King as a starter. Hopefully hopefully maybe he can get to 4 innings somehow if he's efficient enough. And Tariq Skubal, who, I've always thought of as a high, he's a guy that's got good stuff. He's a lefty, so that's always advantageous for the Yankees. But Skubal, should give the Yankees some problems. And then Game 3, they haven't announced. Let me see. Yeah, they haven't announced the Tigers starters, so I'm just going to guess on these. So Garrett Cole pitches Game 3, probably versus Matt Manning, who's a young right-handed starter for the Tigers. And then Game 4 will be Clark Schmidt, probably versus Eduardo Rodriguez, who the Yankees are very familiar with from his time with the Red Sox. He's had a very good season, although I think he did struggle his last outing, so I'm not sure if that's held up recently. And you'd expect some regression. His numbers were really, really good. So we'll see. 4-game set at the Tigers. No rubber game. So I guess, right, that's the bright side. They cannot extend that streak. But for the Yankees here, we'll see what happens. The Tigers, they have a similar record to the Yankees. They're 59-71. Yankees are 62-68. So the Yankees are 3 games better. It's in Detroit. So we will see what happens. But again, Yankees lose the series to the Tampa Bay Rays. They are, really just going through the motions here. 1-12-3 in the last 16 series, 8 straight rubber games lost for this ball club. And again, I definitely cannot wait until this season comes to an end.